Hey, did you know that you can query Kubernetes API directly from your Helm template? If you didn't, let me show this feature to you. Let's say we want to allow our Kubernetes users to scale down every deployment in their namespaces to 0 at midnight. For example, because we want to reduce our cloud bill by shutting down the development environments. First, let me start the local Kubernetes instance. I will create two new namespaces and label them with mkdevme/park. I will then create Nginx deployments in both of those namespaces. I've already prepared a simple Helm chart that we are going to extend. Right now this chart has a static cron job called turnoff. To make this cron job useful, we need to get the list of all the namespaces that have the certain label. To achieve this, I can use the lookup function. The lookup function accepts just a few arguments: the API version, the resource type, the resource name, and the namespace where the resource is located. The result that the function will return will be a dictionary which either has the particular resource or, in this case, a single key called items that contains everything that matches the lookup. To fetch all the namespaces, we need to use v1, resource type namespace, and leave two other fields empty. Now we can loop through each namespace with the help of the range function. Lookup function doesn't let us to narrow down the search via labels, so we have to check the labels of the namespace inside the loop. Namespace variable will contain every field of the namespace, and we can access each of them by using the regular dot notation. I am adding an if statement that checks the presence of mkdevme/park label. If it does exist, we will create a new cron job. I will use the namespace name inside the cron job metadata so that each cron job belongs to the namespace that it scales down. Now I need to modify the command a bit so that we can provide the whole script in a multi-line YAML field. Inside the last argument, we need to invoke the lookup function one more time, this time to fetch every deployment that namespace has. We already have the namespace name in the namespace.metadata.name. Now let's do a dry run of our chart. We can see that Helm would create two new cron jobs, each of those scaling down the Nginx inside the namespace where the deployment is located. Let's install this chart and verify that it does indeed create those two cron jobs. Helm lookup function is a curious feature with certain caveats. One of them is that you have to regularly apply your chart so that it picks up the latest changes to the API resources that it looks up. This issue can be handled by applying your chart regularly, for example with some tools like Argo CD. Another issue is that in many cases it could be easier to just write a script that does the same job. In our example with the turnoff cron job, we could deploy a simple Python script to do the same. Then of course you would need to know how to code and then package the script to a container image, etc, which in certain situations might be too much to ask for. You probably won't need the Helm lookup function too often, but when you do, it might prove really handy and time-saving for minor Kubernetes automations. That's it for this video. If you liked it, don't forget to press the like button and subscribe to our channel. And tell me in the comments section which feature of Helm you think should be more popular. Thanks for watching!